Hello viewers, here is a look at my Penney's box fan. I believe this fan to be from the early to mid 1970s. I just finished what you might call a restoration or a rebuild of this fan. This fan came from a friend or a friend of someone in my family. They gave me a bunch of fans they wanted me to repair, and this was one of them. Well, at some point this motor on the fan caught fire, and it had to be, I don't know how significant, but it was definitely on fire. And so as a result, the motor burnt up, and so it needed to be rewound. And so at that point they're like, you can just have the fan and use it for parts or whatever, because they didn't want to pay for a new motor or to have it rewound, which makes sense. So I was like, okay, then I'm going to rewind it. So a friend and I rewound the motor. It was an interesting process, a major learning experience, but it did work. How well it worked? Could be better. Would there be things that I would change about the way we did it? Absolutely. But in the end, it does what it's supposed to do, and it keeps the fan out of the landfill. It's honestly in really nice shape. And it's rather unique. You don't see these diffuser style grills all that often. So it makes it all the more interesting. So here it is. We'll take a look at it and the motor as best as I can. The lighting in here is but it is what it is, and then we'll run it up. And I've got the amp meter up there for reference to see that it is in fact in spec. And so yeah, to show you as best I can, it's hard to tell because of the lighting, but right in there, let's see if I can get my finger in the view. That is the motor, and that's supposed to be an off-white color. And it's a little darker on the camera than it is in person, but it's relatively close to the color that it is because it was in fact on fire. I don't know. Let's see. Yeah, I don't know if I can get it to focus on what I want to focus on. No. Well, anyways, this bolt, which you can't really tell in this picture, but what happened was someone had pushed the blade on, or maybe it fell back, and the blade was on the shaft too far back. And it was rubbing up against these bolts that hold the motor to the frame for a significant amount of time. There's a bunch of wear on the back of the blade. My guess is the way it burnt up was it got caught eventually, and sat in a locked state, unattended, and burnt up. The owners didn't seem to know that it was on fire, and based on where it was used, my guess is just that they left it on and weren't there when it happened. So, yeah. The blades polished up really quite nice. They have a mirror-like reflection on them now. They were absolutely filthy when I got it. The whole thing was filthy. So it looks really neat, especially if this is in a window, which I wouldn't recommend putting plastic grills in a window, but if it was in a window it would look neat because you could see the reflecting blades as it spins. And here's a closer up of the high stop in the middle. Penney's, always first in quality, never last in trash. It doesn't say in, it just says always first quality. So this Penney's, it's spelled the same way as J.C. Penney, Not sure if those are related or not. Maybe somebody can inform me in the commentary box. I don't know. I don't know what that is. I've seen that on a few fans before, so. So there's that. The grill overall is in pretty nice shape, which is cool because these are not common. The cabinet, I repainted the bottom of the inside. I chose to not repaint the rest of it because I hate spray painting. And this is a fan that I'm going to use. If I was to spray paint this, the paint that I would use would come from the big box store, which is not the highest quality stuff. And if this gets knocked up against something, it'll get a mark. So I'm like, well, screw it. I'll just have the original finish here. This is the worst area, other than the inside, which I did paint over because it was really bad. Alright, I sanded it down, wire brushed it down, and primed and painted that. I did a little bit of crappy touch-up on the top, just to prevent rust. This I left, because I don't know. But honestly, it's not horrible. And for a fan that's probably going to be used daily, then whatever. I don't care. I'm not a huge cosmetic guy. I wanted to work on the blades because I think the blades are really cool, so I did polish the blades, but otherwise, you know, I don't really care. It has the handle, which is kind of nice. It's coated in rubber, but then there's a piece of metal that slides through it and gives it extra support. So it's not just rubber that's carrying this thing. Will I still use it? I don't know. It's a better design than the cheaper handles. Here's our speed selector. It does have 3 speeds, but we'll get into how all that came out later in this production. I'm going to move this forward so I can get behind it for the video. The camera I have to leave plugged in or it's going to conk out. Alright. This back grill was completely repainted because it was really rusted out, so I sanded that down as well. Wire brushed it. Primed and painted that. Here's our motor. The information tag, I guess you could say, is burned off. I did some really nice touch up there just because I had extra paint. Doesn't match the motor at all, but whatever. Like I said, I don't care. Let's see if we can get a picture of these windings. I'm losing sunlight here, so I don't know. Hello? Focus on the what? No. Focus on the winding. Well, you can kind of see them in there. They're nice and shiny. So, those are our brand new windings in this motor. Took a lot of time. This was like a year-long project just because I was doing it, or we were doing it in our spare time when we would both be able, my friend and I, when we would be able to meet. So, yeah. I mean, look at that finish on those blades. That's awesome. Okay. Let's see. Can I show you the tag? That's the tag. It's not a great angle, and it's upside down, but if you don't struggle with inversions like me, maybe you can read it. I'll try to get it from the front, for those of us who have inversion issues. Although it's kind of difficult with this grill. I am so hot. I don't even know why. I just had the air conditioner on, and I shut it off for the video. Alright, I'll try to read it for you. It is model number XC-20, AC 115 volts, 60 cycles, 3.2 amps, manufactured by Lakewood Engineering, Manufacturing Co., Chicago, Illinois. Okay. Let's see. I don't want to Oh. New leads. They focus. New leads. And there is a fuse, an inline fuse, which conveniently, look, you can't even see it. Alright. There's a box. Does not sound like a farm in here. Just a box. A metal... Oh, look, there it is. There's a metal box where the switch resides, and there's also an inline fuse which conveniently fit in there. So that's our fuse safety protection on this motor. There's no thermal fuse in the motor because there's just not, and it doesn't matter. Who needs thermal fuse anyway? No thermal protection required. It does in fact still have the original cord, which is actually in really nice shape. It cleaned up well too. So that's the plug. Which, you know, it's surprising because this is one of those fans that it comes out here. Which that almost always frays, but it's not frayed yet on this one. So I'll have to watch that as I move this thing around. Alright. Now that I've probably scared everyone away with all my talking, which honestly, if you don't have enough patience to sit through some talking, then you got bigger problems, but you could also just fast forward the video to this part. So anyway, let's shut it on, or turn it on, literally, like, turn it on. That was funny. Okay. We're going to start it on low. Actually, I'm going to talk some more first. The speed variance on this thing, after the rewind, is terrible. That's the thing that bites about this. It's horrible. There is practically zero difference between low, medium, high, and high. In fact, even going from low to high is less difference than it typically is going from like low to medium or medium to high. It's horrible. Didn't know that. This is our first, or at least it was my first rewind on a motor this size. Well, my first rewind ever. His first rewind on a motor this size. What we're thinking we should have done was add more turns to the coils, or wrap it more, if that makes sense. We tried to count them, but I struggle with counting, so let's shut it on. Rattles, hold on. Shut up! This is not the time. So anyway, as a result of that relatively poor speed management, it's got a pretty fast low, but it's not unreasonably loud. It moves a ton of air. Take this quad, which is dried by the air. It's diffusing quite nicely. So, that's our low speed. Has a good startup sound too. I don't know if you caught it because of the vibrations, but whatever. Here's our readings. The volts. Hold on, man. Voltage is 120. It is drawing 1.72 amps, 149 watts. That's a power factor of 60. Nope. Nope, that's the wrong button. That's the Hertz. Time to go to sleep. Where's my... Oh, I have to hit it twice. As a power factor at .72. Ugh. It's a shaded pull motor. Which, you know, whatever. It's reflective. So... It runs so smooth. The balance is perfect, which is shocking considering what the blade went through, rubbing up against that motor like that. And then also the fact that it's been kicking around my shop for the past year, not mounted on a motor. Alright, let's go to medium now, which is a huge increase. Did you even go up in watts? By about 10, I suppose. 1.82 amps. So yeah, I mean, hardly a difference. Rather unfortunate, but again, better than the fan not working at all. I'd probably mostly only use this on low anyway. Alright, here's high. There's our amperage. Our wattage. Power factor. It's moving a lot of air. Remember, this is directing the air up, so this is lifting up the thing. And just to show the difference in speeds, how little it is. Here's low, and then we'll go to high. That might be like a regular difference in speeds. If not, it's still a little low. Still a little small. But I mean, honestly, this is running really smooth. So I'm not too upset about it. It's a good fan. It's pulling the correct amount of amperage. Would you shut up? It's really annoying. Awful. Yeah, the handle rattles a little bit. Alright, let's do a wind down. Alright, and there we have it for the Penney's box fan. Really excited to use this. I'll probably use it a lot probably in the fall. We're into late May now, so we're still having days in the upper 70s and low 80s, but the humidity is on and off. Pretty soon we're going to get into where it's just constantly humid and constantly hot, over here in the Midwest. And so I'll probably just be running the air conditioner all the time. But hopefully, in October and November, I can pop this thing in the windows at night. Or it can only fit in one window at once, so in the window at night, and let it do its thing. I've already got the air conditioner in because we've been having some pretty hot days. And I have to cool the attic, which is attached to this room, for storage purposes. So you really kind of do need the extra cooling. I think right now it's about 80 degrees outside, but the humidity's low, so it's actually really comfortable. I'm not opposed to opening the windows, but other people in the house would flip out if I did that, so it's kind of funny because right now the air conditioner is set to 80 degrees inside, so I don't know. We should probably just open the windows at this point. But yeah. So anyways, that's a wrap for this. If anyone even watched to the end, that's great. If you didn't, then you're not hearing me talk, and that's great too. Thanks for watching.